primary cobalt, Kobalt Wave, tinfoil hats, and meaningful consumption experiences. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by humans living in increasingly fragile equilibrium with AI, and brought to you by NoDisc, helping music technology and finance companies navigate the music industry, and partnered with Digital Music News. I'm Lars Murray. It's March 3rd, 2026. It's Tech Tuesday. But before we geek out, on Friday we promised a little more detail on the potential primary wave cobalt deal, and we didn't really deliver yesterday. But with a 1.5 queener price tag looking like the likely transaction cost, the denials from both sides are certainly not flying fast and furious, and Kobalt CEO Laurent Hubert wrote a letter to the troops at Kobalt insisting that Kobalt under any ownership would remain an independently operating company. An acquisition would kind of make sense because Kobalt doesn't really duplicate a whole lot of the work Primary Wave does. In fact, its pipes and wires in the form of its publishing admin technology and its collecting apparatus AMRA would cut out the middleman for Kobalt. There are a lot of connected and affected entities here. It's a bit of a spider web, so if you want to understand more about it, Murray Stassen has the deep dive on Primary Cobalt or Kobalt Wave over at Music Business Worldwide. Okay, let's geek out. Before we get into the AI fear and loathing of the week, let's don our tinfoil hat for a second. If, like me, you've recently switched from OpenAI to Claude as your workaday AI assistant, you may be a little upset that over the last few days, there have been a bunch of outages at Claude, which seems a little close to home given that Claude's parent, Anthropic, is in an open dispute with the now aptly named Department of War. Anthropic has decided to draw a line in the sand when it comes to working for the DOW because what the world really needs is an AI-enhanced war machine. Anthropic's timing is either fortunate or unfortunate given the latest initiatives from the DOW, i.e., invading Iran. So good on Anthropic for resisting the urge to play ball. You got my business, guys. Based on recent experience, too, it may be a good idea for Anthropic to be sitting out this latest Middle East adventure. One thing we can't say is that the outages at Anthropic are a result of its involvement in that incursion. But one thing we can say is that also it's not a result of its non-involvement in the Iranian incursion, if you know what I mean. At the end of last week, the international establishment decided that it had had enough with a rogue player after a long period of tolerance for this revolutionary entity. The establishment decided enough is enough and clapped back on this disruptive force. Iran? No, silly. Suno. We're talking about Suno. If you've been following closely, Suno has been amassing an all-star team of sorts to address the music industry, the latest being Jeremy Sirota, the former Merlin CEO. As of the end of last week, though, everyone from Howie Singer to AI watchdogs Ed Newton-Rex and Virginie Berger was piling on Suno after its lead investor, CC Gong, tweeted asserting in effect that Suno was a Spotify competitor. As our axe grinder Howie likes to say, execs say the darndest things, and he posted a newsletter installment called Oops, They Did It Again. Everything Suno has said up to this point has stressed its value as a tool for musicians. As Virginie Berger puts it, quote, the AI pitch is all the fun things that once gave your life joy and meaning will now be done by machines. Get on board. Now, Tim Ingham of Music Business Worldwide has done some disrupting of his own, some deconstructing of Suno's rhetoric. In an open letter to Suno CEO Mikey Shulman, who has compared Suno to Fort, Tim took a look at their rhetoric as a whole, and when you do that, you see that Suno's goal is a fortnightly many millions of active users and $1 billion in annual revenue. And how do you get to that many active users? Well, you engage a butt-ton of consumers. And how does Suno aim to do that? Well, by replacing the existing product that you get from Spotify or Apple Music, that is, songs by artists and songwriters, with a new product created by the consumer. I'm not going to steal all of Tim's thunder, but he makes some very trenchant points, not least of which is, quote, they don't play Fortnite at people's funerals. That would be a mic drop moment for Tim, but Tim took Suno for a spin. He took a page from the Unlimited Supply playbook and wrote a song about Suno using Suno. I might add, we did that for the first time over a year ago. In case you need a reminder, Bond Villains Made Me Redundant was the song I wrote using Suno last year on February 28th. It's time-stamped, still available on the platform, and there's a link in the show notes. Anyway, Tim's contribution to this budding genre of Suno songs about Suno is called Meaningful Consumption Experiences. It's named after what Mikey Shulman calls what the rest of us call a song. And it sounds suspiciously like The Outfield. Go check it out in the article. But wait, there's more. Also in the article, Tim points the way to a Mr. Money tutorial on how to make money on Apple Music using Suno, which had gotten past me. Another AI critique of the week comes from our favorite Vermont-based unlimited supply listener, David Owczarek of Catamount Music. I hope I pronounced your name right, David. If not, you can come on here and correct me. Who not only provided a competitive review of Rick Beato's and Adam Neely's Music AI Explainer videos, but also hipped me, and probably you too, to the existence of the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA, which is backed by a group of huge companies and provides, quote, an open technical standard for publishers, creators, and consumers to establish the origin and edits of digital content. That sounds like a creator authenticity blockchain. Thank you for hipping me, David. You are invited to explain C2PA in an Axe Grinder segment anytime. Listeners, if you don't want to wait for that, there is a link to C2PA in the show notes. And that's another Tech Tuesday. Well, not quite. Getting back to Suno versus the DSPs for a moment. For its part, our sponsor Qobuz last week published an AI charter in 6 languages. It reads in part, "The heart of Qobuz is and will remain human. Editorial curation, music expertise, content creation." You can read the whole thing in 6 languages at a link in the show notes. And while you're at it, have you been thinking about switching your music streaming service lately from one of the big tech behemoths? I sure have, and I did this week. Well, if you're thinking about switching, or maybe you haven't thought about it before, you should be switching to Qobuz. Qobuz is the music service for the serious music fans. Those are the ones who appreciate the hard work of songwriters and musicians. Qobuz features nothing but music, no podcasts or other distractions, and Qobuz has lossless audio for the highest quality sound. The other thing Qobuz has is actual human curation. For you, that means actual music discovery, not just a machine feed telling you that you like the music you already like. That's why Qobuz is the second fastest growing entertainment app in the United States. If you're feeling like it's time for a switch, visit Qobuz.com/supply. That's QOBUZ.com/supply to sign up for a free trial. If you like what you hear, please hit the follow button wherever you get your pods. I live for your praise and encouragement in person, but it helps a lot more if you drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify, and tell a friend or 3. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. I'm Lars Murray, and remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest. And it sounds suspiciously like The Outfield.